Completing a Stuart triple expansion engine, part 5. Some castings arrived from Stuart models, fitting the steam chest gaskets, packing the glands and making the support columns a uniform length. And here are the castings. One of them is for the water pump and the other one is for an air pump. The castings do look a bit rough, and I once mentioned this to Andy at Stuart Models and he said, well, we can't win really, because a lot of customers like the castings this way, because the fettling or cleaning up before machining part of the job is interesting to them. But unfortunately not to me. I would have preferred them being cleaner. It will be a while before I tackle these castings. If you've been watching the series so far, it seems that I'm making quite rapid progress, but this is not the case. I put the castings back in the plastic bags they came in and put them in a safe place. This is what's left of a gasket on the high pressure cylinder. I removed the rest of it because it was too brittle to do anything with. This is the high pressure cylinder and I do intend to fit 2 new gaskets. First though, I will clean off the residue left by the old gasket, particularly at the bottom. For gaskets to be successful, they need flat and clean surfaces to work with. I showed how I made the gaskets for the low pressure steam chest, and the gaskets for this were made in exactly the same way. And don't forget, when you're making gaskets, leave them oversized and trim them once you fit them to the engine. This is an interesting job, and it's a new slant on an old job. I'm using graphited yarn, which isn't graphited yarn. This is Teflon coated yarn, and it's far too thick for my application. But the good news is it's plaited together, so all I do is use my scriber to unplait it into lots of thin lengths. These are the ideal length to pack the glands on this engine. This is quite difficult to do when the engine is built up, but when you have the steam chest in your hand, it's very straightforward. I just wound the yarn around the valve spindle and carefully pressed it into place with a thin-bladed screwdriver. Once I'd replaced the 2 nuts that hold the outer part of the gland in place, and tested that the gland wasn't too tight and the valve spindle moved in and out very freely, then I could continue with the next part of the job. Here, as you can clearly see, the gasket is a bit on the big side, but all I need to do now is use a very sharp knife and trim it to the correct size. This is the valve chest of the low pressure cylinder, and here I'm just reminding you that you must not make the valve gland too tight. The best way to do it is to tighten the nuts first and then slacken them off a bit. It's also very important to make sure you don't put the slide valve in the wrong way round. Before fitting the steam chest complete with the valve, you need to check this. If the drive block is the wrong way around, when you tighten everything up, nothing will move and you may damage something. Here's a very simple tip for locating the hole in the die block. Just use your scriber. In this clip I'm carefully trimming the gasket. Notice that I'm holding the knife at a very steep angle. And I'm also holding the knife in such a way that if the blade slips, it slips onto the rough cast metal and not onto the nice shiny casting which is the steam chest. Here's a second gasket that fits between the steam chest and the cover, and once I fitted the cover I trimmed the gasket in exactly the same way. And after trimming one side I then trimmed the other one. An observation: when trimming these gaskets against the cast iron surface, the sharp point of the blade doesn't last very long, and you may need to replace the blade fairly frequently. Whilst working on the timing at each end of the engine, I keep having to switch the position of the flywheel so I can turn it by hand. I thought I would mention that in case any viewers are thinking that I've possibly gone mad. One part of this engine's been bothering me since I first saw it. It was the first thing that my eye sort of centred on. The cylinder assembly is supported by 8 columns, and the threads on the top of these columns were all different lengths. So here, using a small cutting disc in my Proxon motor tool, I'm levelling them all. I put nuts on first and then level down to the nuts, and when I remove these nuts and fit new ones, as you can see here, I think it looks altogether much better. Before fitting the nuts to the tops of the columns, I cleaned up the tops of the threads using one of these paper abrasive discs. They really are very useful tools to have in your workshop collection. And once again I would like to thank the viewer who kindly sent me some of these quite a while back. Thank you, they are really good. Once again on this side I fit new nuts. Originally the threads were so long at the top of the columns they even got in the way of the small bolts that were used to hold the inlet exhaust pipes to the block. I think this looks better all round. I'm almost tempted to turn up some stainless steel nuts for the top, more about that later. And that's about it for this episode. Before I go though, I'd like to thank the viewers who wrote in, sending good wishes for my eldest daughter and family, who all now have COVID-19. But thankfully so far none of them are seriously ill. In fact, William, my 12-year-old grandson, has no symptoms whatsoever. And I seem to be okay, because last week I didn't go around to visit them because I was busy with this project. If you're not a Patreon subscriber, this may not make any sense, but remember Patreon is 3 months ahead of the public views on YouTube. Today is Tuesday the 16th of March 2021. Stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.